Right, so this is my first time ever in Bohol, and I'm here for just over a week. Now, I know there's tons of things to do here. Hello, cockerel. But the first thing I'm going to show you all is Pamilacan Island. Okay, so Pamilacan is a tiny little island just off the coast of two more well-known Philippines islands. Bohol, which is also a province, Panglao, and Pamilacan Island is here. We heard it was a great spot for snorkeling and maybe seeing dolphins, so that was enough to convince us. How do we get there? Well, I'll get to that in a bit, but first, Pamilacan Island has a rich history in whaling. The community on the islands used to be these really skilled whale hunters, and they'd hunt with small canoes, kind of like the one behind me, and handheld harpoons. Supposedly the name of the island even comes from those small harpoons, but it might also mean resting place of mantas. Either way, hunting has been banned, so the community now have to rely on things like tourism as a main source of their livelihood. Speaking of tourism, to get here, you've obviously got to take a boat, so we booked our trip with a fella called Mark Anthony. Hey, Kuya. A friend of a friend, who quoted us 5,000 pesos for the day. There were 4 of us in total, me, Travis, Scott, and Robbie, so it didn't seem too pricey. Side note, I've put Mark Anthony's number in the description below if you ever need a boat. We met Mark Anthony at 8 AM on Alona Beach, which is one of the main spots for tourists, dive shops, and restaurants. Once we grabbed our masks and fins, we hopped on the boat, met our captain, and then headed south-ish to the island. So, the crossing to Pamilacan takes about an hour, and if you're lucky, you see dolphins. On the way out, we mostly saw flying fish, but on the way back, dolphins! I'm not sure what is a good measure for dolphin sightings, but this was so cool! I've seen 1 or 2 dolphins before, but never this many. We also had a little visitor on our boat in the form of a baby flying fish, who I really hope we managed to save. At about 9:30 AM, we got to Pamilacan Island, hopped out, and were taken to this family-owned beach cabana thingy, which was our base for the day. Next up was snorkeling, but before we dive into that, Pamilacan Island is part of what they call the Bohol Marine Triangle, an area of super high biodiversity, which is apparently a really big deal. Basically, it's got tons of marine life, including 13 species of whale, dolphin, and porpoise. There's even sperm whales in there. How nuts is that? We might not have seen any whales, apart from these handmade whale shark souvenirs, but we did get dolphins in there and some other cool animals, which brings me on nicely to our main bit of fun, snorkeling. The reef and coral gardens at Pamilacan Island are right off the beach, so technically you can just swim out to it from the shore. We had 2 guides that rowed us out in canoes, but I think that might have just been standard procedure and a bit of community tourism. We never got around to asking, but maybe these canoes were once used for hunting whales. Imagine that. At first we were dropped in deep water, which was a little confusing because there wasn't much to see apart from this plankton jellyfish thingy. I think we were searching for sea turtles, or maybe it was just because the current was so damn strong. After a little bit of swimming and relocating, we were introduced to a pretty great local resident. And here's me trying to do the underwater sign for a turtle. Convincing. For the next 1 to 2 hours, we just spent our time drifting above this beautiful coral garden, enjoying all the colours and the cast of Finding Nemo. Back on land, we got to enjoy Pamilacan's very beautiful white sand beach, and then eventually tucked into lunch.
Chicken adobo.
A Filipino classic, accompanied with plenty of seafood. Lunch cost us 600 pesos each, which is about $10 US, and went to the family who run the beachfront cabanas. Post-lunch, we went on a quick explore of the island with one of the guys from the cabanas, who shared a little bit more about Pamilacan Island. Kuya, how many people live on the island?
2,000 plus and 400 families.
He also mentioned the island has an elementary, middle, and even high school, and the electricity comes from a generator located in the center of the island. Back at the waterfront, we wrapped it up here in this fort, which brings me on nicely to another bit of history. Aside from its marine life and water activities, the island is also known for this 200-year-old fort. Supposedly, in the past, it served as a watchtower for the Spanish colonial forces, on the lookout for pirates and other enemies. According to the local municipality, the fort is also part of a network of colonial watchtowers and forts across the region that were constructed in the 17th and 18th centuries. Before we wrapped things up for the day and headed back to Panglao and Bohol, we enjoyed the beach just a little bit more and then decided to be nosy and find out about the accommodation. Now you can do day trips to Pamilacan, but you can also rent these little huts. They don't have aircon, but for 600 to 1,200 pesos a night, that's not bad, is it? No. Best thing about it though, definitely the view. Bye you guys. Salamat.
Thank you.
If you're ever heading to Pamilacan Island, get in touch and let me know how the stay goes. Follow for more travel stories and adventures.